Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm from the Treasure Coast Business Spotlight, brought to you by Fiorella Insurance. And I'm excited today to have with me Fred Kirkhart, who's from Stuart Photography Company, who's going to share with us some tips in case you're a business owner and you're looking to put together some marketing materials and you're not really 100% sure what is the best way to take the best photos, or if you're taking good photos and you want to make better photos, you're in the right place. So, Fred, first off, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Well, why don't I just go ahead and ask the question. So if I'm a business owner and I'm like, okay, I want to do, let's say, a social media campaign, how do I take better pictures? Let's say if I'm just using my phone.
Okay. One of the biggest things that I see when I look at photos that have been done by someone doing them themselves is usually lighting.
Okay.
A lot of times people will take a picture that is of something or someone who's smiling and it's a great subject and this and that, and they put thought into what they're taking a picture of, but a lot of times the lighting in the room will be like real dim and almost grungy looking, you know. So when doing branding photos, it's important to have like nice clear lighting. You can tell what the subject is.
Okay.
Sometimes bringing in external lighting,
sure.
You can get like cheap Amazon Basics kits, for instance, that you can bring, and you can do product photography. If you take your subject matter outside, a lot of times it's better. If you're doing it with a cell phone, that's kind of a big thing,
because you have the sunlight.
Yeah, I mean, natural lighting is way better than doing internal lighting, where it's fluorescent or tungsten type situation. If you go outside, a lot of times cell phones kind of thrive in more of a natural light environment.
So then even if I'm inside, we're probably better off having like a window going
open all those blinds. Get as much outside light as you can. Absolutely. Or bring your subject closer to a window. You can take beautiful portraits of people, even if you just put them right up against the window and get some nice side light coming in or something.
Okay.
Like that.
So if I'm near the window, and this might be a very basic question, and forgive me, I'm no photographer here. So if I have the light coming in the window, how should I stand in relation to my subject if the light's coming in, let's say, this way?
It depends on what you're going for.
Okay.
If you wanted to do like a headshot of an employee, for instance, something like that, you would, if you have a pretty large window, a lot of times it would be better for the photographer in that instance to have their back to the window, let the light come past them, and have the light go onto their subject. So it would be more of a broad light.
Okay.
It depends if you're trying to take a picture of something that's a little more moody, like a lot of like attorney pictures, like they have the side that's kind of in shadow.
Oh, okay.
You would turn
just
the
kind of a
subject towards
different look.
the window. You know what I mean? So you would have
playing with the shadows.
The window on the
right
or left side, and then you would have, so you're gonna have more of a shadow fall off,
Okay.
So definitely, and you can angle the subject appropriate to that.
Sure. Okay. Now, before we recorded, we started talking a little bit about like composition and things like that.
Yes.
What would be some tips you could give for like where you should position things to have the best composition to kind of draw the eye where you want it to draw?
Okay. I would say the biggest thing is clean edges on a photo.
Okay.
If you have a subject that you're taking with a cell phone, especially, I think a lot of people, they want to get like the whole room in the picture.
Okay.
So if they're taking a picture of an employee at a desk or something, and like a receptionist or something, you know what I mean? And our tendency is to kind of pull back, but with a cell phone or even a basic DSLR that someone would own on their own, getting a lot closer and filling the frame kind of tells the story better.
Gotcha.
What is the subject of the photo? We don't want to have to guess.
Okay, that's a good point. So getting in a little bit,
getting in tighter,
tighter than we normally would.
Picture of someone, we don't want it to be someone plus some plants and some things and some desk objects, unless that tells the story you're trying to tell.
Gotcha. So in a lot of cases, just having the person is what's more interesting.
Less distraction, maybe, and depending on what you're trying to show,
Right.
Like an environmental portrait of, an employee working at the desk, that's fine. But a lot of times we don't pay attention to what's on the desk and decluttering ahead of time.
Okay.
I think, a lot of times take the picture, check it.
Right.
Okay, well, there's a lot of stuff over here that needs to be cleaned up and, clutter.
The Post-it notes.
Right.
Papers.
if you were going to go on to, website of a large company, what would their image look like? It doesn't.
Right.
It's not going to look like that. So we have the ability to retake an image.
Yeah.
Usually, you know what I mean?
Okay. So that's another thing you could do is potentially go online and find.
Absolutely. Yeah. Storyboards, you know, you can go on like Pinterest and you can, you know,
that's great.
Plan, you know, like a lot of the times companies have a brand, an image that they're trying to portray, you know, and if you go from one section of the website to another, sometimes it's very off brand.
Okay.
You know, like as far as a look or an aesthetic, you know, you might have company colors, you might have,
that's a good idea.
You know, things like that. And then, you know, you wouldn't say like you want leather and metal if you have a like vintage wedding decor company, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, like, cause they're kind of off they're contrasting, you know what I mean?
So you want to try to include as much in the composition, so to speak, of the photography or the photo that fits with your brand, maybe the colors, the style, stuff like that. Okay,
you know, less distracting, you know, cleaner images. When you look at a photo, a lot of times, you know, like the things, if you've seen pictures where people have trees growing out of their heads, you know,
right?
You know, people on vacations and the Jupiter lighthouse is sticking out of their head.
Right.
You know, or you see a light pole or a tree or something like that,
right?
Or, you know, like an office plant, you know, or something. Sometimes if you go on to look at professional photos, most places, or even people that are very successful, like with Instagram and stuff, usually their imagery is clean, not distracting. You know, the edges of the photo are littered with things, and then there's subjects in the middle. You know? Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. So earlier you mentioned DSLR. So DSLR is kind of like a type of camera a professional photographer would have, right?
Yes.
So what would be the difference in what a DSLR camera would do and what I could do with my phone?
Mostly it's just this sensor size is a lot smaller on a cell phone. Like a DSLR is able to record a lot more information from the image. Okay. And that makes it like a broader range where light can be adjusted up and down, shadows, highlights, and post-production. Say if you were going to edit the photo, like if you take a large file from a DSLR, you can basically do anything in the world, you know, like Photoshop wise,
right?
If you needed to take somebody out of it or this or that, because there's so much information recorded on the sensor, right? Versus your cell phone, it takes great images, but there's not as much information in the image, so it's a smaller image. Okay. So at a small size, it still looks like it looks in its reality, but then when you go to blow the image up to use it for, say, like large scale print or large scale projection, a lot of times it wouldn't translate as well because there's going to be information that's missing. Yeah, so I've seen before, like with the internet, there's a certain number of dots per inch or something like that. DPI, and with print, the DPI. Yes. And there's a higher DPI with print, so that's where the benefit of the DSLR comes in. So if I was going to invest in, like, let's say, making brochures, what would be kind of that tipping point where you would say it would make sense to now start bringing in a professional photographer versus trying to DIY it, like with my phone? I would say that you probably, for something that small, like a brochure, you probably would never need to go over, you know. It depends on how much you're trying to compress or enlarge an image for what you're doing with it. You know what I mean? Right. So if you have a really tiny object and you're trying to make it bigger. So if I was doing a billboard. Right. Or say you took a picture of a wedding ring. On a table, and you even wanted to make the wedding ring as big as like the top half of a brochure. You know, you might lose a lot of detail because the detail was never there. But that's more of I'm not a print specialist by any means, you know. But I normally, you know, you'll never have an issue if you're staying typically web-based with an image taken from a cell phone versus a DSLR. You know, the main differences are in when you go to blow it up and use it for something bigger, or lighting, you know, capability of the DSLR are just way different than what a cell phone. Okay, good deal. So then the DSLR is probably something that, like,
there's more settings on it. If as a layman, I guess might say, like myself. So what are the things that the DSLR could do that a camera couldn't, like with composition and artistic look and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, well, a DSLR, first of all, has typically always changeable lenses.
Okay.
So you can put a big zoom lens on, like a sports photographer carries up and down the Super Bowl, or you can have a really wide angle lens, like a landscape photographer would have, or a real estate photographer. Most photos that are taken of real estate are with, a wide fisheye type lens,
right.
8 to 15 millimeter, lens, or they kind of were. Let me go back. They're moving into more of like a 3D panoramic video type format.
Oh, gotcha.
A lot of times, so I don't think they're using as many fisheyes as they were. That gets kind of a distorted look, where the photo looks a little warped.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
People are moving away from that a little bit, but I don't do a ton of real estate photography.
Sure.
So, but the difference would be that you can put different lenses on for different purposes.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to get a little more flattering look depending on what you want. If you're doing portrait, you'd be, in a certain range of focal length. And then if you wanted to do shots of the interior of a building, you would be at a different focal length, so that's adjustable. The DSLR is going to have a lot better low light capabilities. Basically where if you need to shoot in an environment where you can't bring in a lot of external lighting, you can bump up the ISO rating of the camera, and you can. It's the ISO is basically like the light sensitivity.
Oh, okay.
And so you increase the light sensitivity, kind of like back in the day. Film was rated at different ISOs.
Like the 200, 400,
right.
or
so
something like that.
It doesn't translate exactly the same to digital, but it's relatively similar. And so you, on a DSLR, you can really bump up, especially the newer DSLRs, you can really bump up the ISO range, and you can make a very dark room look pretty well lit because it records a lot more of the ambient light. And so that's really good as far as if you tried to do the same thing with your cell phone, it would be a very noisy, grainy picture. You see a lot of bad pictures of people take pictures of their dog on the floor, on Facebook, and it's like, well, that's not made for that at all, So, whereas a DSLR, you could adjust it, and you could all of a sudden get the light from the window way across the room, and it'll kind of suck in the light and make that look the way you
gotcha.
So adjustable for exposure. You can underexpose something on purpose, or you can overexpose something on purpose.
Okay. So as I kind of understand it, like a cell phone, it's just kind of like, here's what's right there, like in the lens, so to speak. It makes adjustments and whatnot. Yeah. Whereas a DSLR, you can say, okay, here's the different adjustments I need to make, based on the lighting, what I want the photo to look like and whatnot. And some of that helps having the trained eye of someone who has done it before.
Yes.
Because it's probably not one of those things you just take it out of the box and just start shooting, and you're going to have professional photos necessarily.
Yeah.
So, what's that?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's all about getting the right inputs, so to speak, so you can have the right photos in the back end.
Yeah.
So great. So what would you say at Stuart Photography Company is your forte of the type of pictures you would do?
I focus mainly on headshots, corporate employee headshots, portraits, product, and kind of like lifestyle stuff, I don't do weddings really. I will do a wedding, but it's not my focus at all.
Sure.
Mostly people and business related things, marketing material for businesses, what they do, how they do it, the process. Sometimes we're recording the process, that's pretty cool. But mostly, headshots, I would say, and things of that nature.
Well, good deal. Well, do you have any parting words of wisdom for people that, if they're looking to take pictures or decide whether to DIY it or whatever the case is?
Yeah, I would say be purposeful. Know an intention, what you want, and take it and get some outside input. From someone who's going to be honest with you about how your pictures look.
So you may not want to go to like one of your employees or your mom, because they're probably going to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
What you want
somebody
to
that's an outside perspective that's not going to be codependent with you. And but definitely like seeking, you know, someone that's going to edit or be willing to say, yeah, that could be better. Or,
Right.
you know, I think a lot of people like real. So that's good if you're doing it yourself. Real is good, you know, not overly staged, you know. But also, there's sometimes you look at a photo and go like, well, you could have taken that again. Like digital is free, so you can delete that one and try it again. Usually, you know, and a lot of people just go, it's like, oh, we just took the picture, and you go like, well, the lighting is absolutely horrible. Why would you use that as as your first impression? You know, you want to look approachable and you want to make a good first impression as a business. So you don't want people to go like, oh, okay, you didn't go very far. You didn't try very hard, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
I would say.
So if you're deciding that, you know, you're looking to do some marketing photos, we've actually used the services of Fred Kirkhart to do some of our own headshots. So I would definitely recommend, you know, if you are looking for somebody to do, you know, some professional photography, give Fred a shot. In fact, whether you're watching this on Facebook or you're watching it on YouTube, we'll have the link either above or below. So hopefully you found this video to be helpful. And Fred, I really appreciate that you took the time to be here today.
I appreciate it.
So again, if you found this video to be helpful, give us a little thumbs up icon. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much and have a great day here at the Treasure Coast Business Spotlight, brought to you by Fierrell Insurance. Take care.